All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another stream in Terraria again. Decided I want to do this more to kind of keep the momentum going. I feel like it would have waited too long to get back into this world. So yeah, we're doing this. I did a lot last stream, but also a lot of like random other things that took a bit of time, like building this whole base and the other houses across the world. So I think that today I want to kind of focus a lot more on progression, just getting a bunch of stuff done. I mean, having this base is nice to set up early, so then I like pretty much never have to worry about organization in the future. Everything else all like set up here. But organizing all this, I did a handful of things off stream, mainly this over here, the shimmer. I'll get to that in a bit, but also just setting up the pylons because I already built these. And now we can just teleport around and make things a lot more convenient. So yeah, I guess I'll just start with the corruption. I suppose that's the main thing to do immediately. I already have this armor set. I guess the pickaxe is the main thing to upgrade at the moment. But our corruptions are very far away. This is a weird thing about this world. The corruption doesn't start until all the way over here, or all the way over here. Those are our options. I guess I'll actually start with that one. Here's the dungeon. It's nice to have this set up close to the dungeon, because we'll be returning here in the future. Here it is. Now the main thing to do here is just to set up the... if I can hit that. Set up an arena. Usually I prefer to bring Eater to the surface. That is the boss that we're preparing for next. So basically you need to... just a second. We got these shadow orbs. I actually broke some of them. What are these? They're from where I got this item. If you break 3 of them, then it summons a boss, which is the next one that we're preparing for. And this tunnel is not the greatest place to fight them. I know that some people do that, but they're actually quite a large boss, and we want space to move around. So I usually like to build a path up one of these tunnels and then onto an arena that is on the surface. And that just gives you enough room to actually like dodge and move around. I'm just grabbing this orb real quick while it's here. I mean, the boss drops a bunch of this orb. Actually, I don't even know if I'll need much of it at all. After this boss, I really want to try to find a better weapon. The best I have right now is this ruby staff, which is alright. It's functional. But it could definitely get something better. Maybe if you go to the jungle, there's a boss in the jungle that drops a magic weapon. Well, most of the magic weapons are in the dungeon, at least early on. A lot of them are in there, so that's another good spot to go to. We're just placing these platforms here to make it a lot easier to get back up. Doesn't matter if these platforms are too high up, I can just grapple to them. I need to. Now this area, actually I haven't even explored the rest of the surface here. So I guess I might as well do that just to fill out the map. Yeah, this weapon isn't too great. I mean, these enemies are a little bit more dangerous than like the average enemy in free hard mode. That's the end of the corruption. It's actually quite small, and this should be the ocean, like right here. Yes, it is. Now, there's this counts as its own biome, the ocean, and for every biome you can build a town of about 3 NPCs is usually a good amount. And then from there you can build a pylon. That's what these are. These. So you need NPCs for the pylon to be able to work. And that's kind of our fast travel. So, I mean, you can only have one per biome. So this is our desert pylon. This is our forest pylon. And so, you know, we only get one beach pylon, which we want to place in a good spot. Like, do we want to return here often or over here often? But since we already have this desert pylon to go to the dungeon and this corruption, I feel like we'd want one over here, maybe to get to, well, you know, because this is a pylon, we teleported there already. But it's probably a good idea to build them anyway, even if you're not going to teleport there often, just because it's you want more NPCs to be able to join your world. But these enemies are not going away. Go. So for this arena, I'm gonna basically make it like a staircase. Since this whole platform is kind of like sloped upwards, I'm thinking of doing something like this. Actually, I have an accessory that will make it play stuff faster. I wonder if I can make another mana crystal. I can. You can usually have a max of 200 mana, but it's kind of hard to tell because I have extra accessories that increase my mana above the base amount. So I guess this block, I'm gonna just go to this, and I'll make some more over here. About like right here. The cactus fish is in the way. Thank you for that. Can be a bit annoying to place these platforms because they are, the moment you get like moved slightly, then you do this. That actually is very nice. These banners drop if you kill enough of a certain enemy, and it makes you deal like double damage to that enemy type. It's very useful in like farms or an area like this where there's a whole bunch of this one type of enemy. It makes it easier to deal with them. So this should only take like 2 or 3 shots per eater. You know, the eaters have different sizes. Like this is a small one. That looks like a medium one. And they're all just called Eater of Souls, but they used to be called like Little Eater, Big Eater. And then I think it's just regular Eater. Like it's Eater of Souls. Also, this is like unintentionally a very good mob farm. A lot of them are spawning. Does this reduce spawn rates? I don't think so. I'd rather the enemies not show up now, but they are anyway. Oh, that guy got destroyed. These fallen stars deal damage. So if they just happen to hit an enemy, they take a lot of damage. About 1,000. I think I want to create one more platform just kind of up here. It's gonna get in the way. You know these cactus? They look different. They're the purple. It's of the corruption. But they still drop regular cactus blocks if I place it down. They're just green, like regular cactus. That isn't corrupted. And I remember, every time an update came out, the first thing I would do is go to a desert and check if they added corrupted cactus. Corrupted or crimson cactus. And they never did. I guess it'd be a lot of work because every block type, or a lot of block types have like furniture and like walls and like a bunch of different things you can craft with them. Like with cactus, I can create like a bunch of cactus related items. If I can have a moment to look at these, goodness. Like all this cactus furniture, sword and pickaxe, you know, they would have to create new items for all of those. Like 3 more variations for the corruption, crimson, and hollowed versions of cactus. That's probably just too much work to bother with. Just like add 1 cactus type is enough. Maybe some people would really like that. To have more cactus variation, I suppose. Like the kind of people who build a lot. Which is not me. Why would I care about it so much? Just because it's, I don't know, kind of nice to have that extra detail. Now it's daytime. Hell, because there's a lot less enemies and mostly these slimes too. I guess I'm ready for the fight. You know, this jackal actually, it's kind of nice because it gives me extra max mana. I should be able to make 1 more. Might as well go do that. Still does take a little bit of time to get over here. I mean, not nearly as bad as walking across like the whole map. So I should have an extra star just in here somewhere, and I also want to grab some buff potions. So this should be the maximum amount. Swiftness is all I can make. Regen and Iron Skin. These are like the 3 like typical buffs: movement speed, life regen, and defense. From these 3 potions, and they're very easy to make. This is annoying me. See, this desert here is like only partially corrupted, but that's gonna spread the rest of the way. Eventually, this whole thing will be corrupted. But I'm pretty sure the dungeon is like a hard barrier, because this goes down very far. I don't think you'll be able to spread across. Unless you can create like artificial barriers too, if you don't want the corruption spreading too far. Should also light this area up. Actually see where I'm going. Still take fall damage. Still a problem. I think I need to break 3 entire new. Now I'm actually curious. It's actually all the way down here. So this is the shimmer. It does a bunch of weird stuff. This might be a bit of a risk. Okay, no. It doesn't do anything. then maybe there'd be a chance that it switches to the Crimson alternate. So, like, I keep talking about the Crimson. Each world can either have the Corruption or Crimson. And this is the Corruption, the purple one. Crimson is red. And there's a bunch of differences between the two. Like, the Shadow Orbs down there are instead, like, these hearts in the Crimson. If you make those hearts, then a different set of weapons drop. And, like, the Vilethorn is the magic weapon for the Corruption, so there's a magic weapon for the Crimson that I actually would like to have over this weapon. I please hit just once. There we go. The Shadow Helmet. So I actually got these other like ancient armor pieces. I think those are like using old sprites from like older versions of the game. That's why they're ancient. This is the same as regular shadow armor, which we make from Demonite. And I think this is just the, I mean, there is Cobalt armor, but it's nothing like this. I think this is the alternative of Jungle armor. Yeah, that's how it used to be in older versions, where Cobalt armor was like the early game magic armor. But I don't really remember that being the case. Modding has come full circle. Hello. It's definitely not just two separate games. It's actually just one game and a virtual cycle of being modded to look like another. We're about to fight a boss. Now, I always like to save shadow orbs that is close to the tunnel that I'm going to leave from. I don't know if this will reach the bottom. No, not yet. So 2 more should be enough. Although it could drop an item that I might want to pick up, so I'll stick around for that. Nope. Here they are. Big worm. Yeah, I keep taking damage from the head, which is not good. Actually not sure the best approach for fighting this. Maybe I'll just use the Vilethorn, because it's piercing. Deal a whole lot of damage when it's all bunched up. But I don't want to break any segments. So I might do something like this. Problem is that when they're all bunched up, all the segments shoot these projectiles at me. Kind of want to... That doesn't help at all. These projectiles deal a lot of damage. Even though there's a ton of them. Doesn't really make sense. They usually want to keep the front segment most damaged. Or else that happens, but luckily that's not too big. As long as you don't split them up too much. I wanted them to go more underground. Snipe that last piece. Okay, this isn't ideal, but it's still not awful. You know, the Eater of Worlds has this weird property where once you break a segment, the head will go to the right. So if they're chasing you to the left, and you like damage the segments, then they're going to stop moving entirely and like be facing the right. But if they're chasing you to the right, then they will keep moving on. So let's see if I can do that there. Yeah, I mean they slow down a lot, but it's like noticeable. Kind of weird. Assume that just when the new head segment spawns in, it just defaults to facing to the right. Now that these segments are smaller, I'm gonna start using this weapon. Less pierce, but more damage. There we go. Yeah, these kind of weapons. They're from the Don't Starve collab. Maybe this is a thing from Don't Starve. I'm not too familiar with that game. But they've done these sort of events where they bring in some stuff from other games. We'll actually get to something else in not too long. Yeah, there we go. So this drops the Worm Scarf, which is actually a really good defensive item. Basically, it's just flat damage reduction. 17%, like that's pretty big. I think that's pretty much all we're doing here. And you know, when I fight in the dungeon, there's a boss. Maybe when I fight that, I will head over to this arena. So I already have one built. It's nice to be able to reuse arenas, so you don't have to build a new one every time. I might, like, just... Actually, you know, before we do Skeletron... There we go. So this is why those items are actually very good. Basically, there's a chance of a pyramid spawning in your world, which can have 3 items: the sandstorm in a bottle, the flying carpet, or the pharaoh set. I got the pharaoh set, which is usually useless because it's just a vanity set, but if you bring it to the shimmer, it transforms into both of the other items. So it's technically the best one that you get. I don't have enough accessory slots for all those. Yeah, I'm fine with the rest of these. I also have the goblin down here, who's very happy, so I should be able to reforge stuff for pretty cheap. You know, I had an unreforged Valthorn that whole time. I think I was fine with this staff. There we go. So this is reforging, the most fun mechanic in the game. Basically just spend money to randomize the extra bonus stats on an item. It's an interesting mechanic. Oh, that's actually interesting. Wait, so can I... Yeah, I can. Whoa, let's not jump into that. That would actually be very bad. So I can convert that into the original jungle set. So now the armor actually fits. No, I can't set it back because it probably just undo the... So like some items have a shimmer variation where you can shimmer the item and it will transform into some other item. Ooh, I have too much stuff. Guess I can get rid of some armor sets I don't need. do need another chest for this though. But if an item doesn't have some other specific thing that it can shimmer into, usually it deconstructs the item. So whatever items that you use to craft the item, it just gives you those items back. Which can be very convenient in some scenarios, but sometimes you don't want to do that. Shadow Scales. It's actually the next item we need. Kept a bunch of Demonite here. Oh yeah, pickaxe. And I might as well also make the hammer, since I have a ton of it. And you would make the shadow set if you're melee. I think this is mostly a melee set. Although it does just increase critical strike, so maybe it isn't. But I always remember it as being melee. But I already have this, like, magic armor set, so I don't need to switch to that. That's pretty much the only thing I need to make with that, actually. I guess I'm also just scared of these items. Only 22 copper for a godly hammer. Really? I think I might just want to fight the Skeletron right away. Might be able to. It's kind of a funny boss because you can fight him whenever, as long as you get to the dungeon first. So sometimes people accidentally fight this boss way too early. Just like, oh, I wonder what this does. Now, we'll use this arena. That was a mistake. Fortunately, other enemies are still spawning and at a higher rate because it's in the corruption, so maybe this isn't the best spot. So you can damage the head, but it has significantly higher defense. So you can always have to focus on the hands first, and once those are broken, you can attack the head. Actually use the dash to give me iframes. It only works some of the time though. Or if you're actually good. Having rocket boots makes this fight a lot easier because you just fly over them like that if you get cornered. Or if you run off the arena, more like. I automatically drank a mana potion there. So I do have the mana flower. Although it does reduce your damage. So maybe I don't want to rely on that just yet. So I can stand still and increases mana regen. There you go, full mana. Now this boss actually drops a magic weapon. If I'm really lucky, I'll get it. Also, you want to break both hands at the same time. Ow. Because the head gets more attacks if the hands are gone. Kind of like how simple these bosses are in the early game. Star? No. Let's get lucky and the star falls on him. I feel like these like early game bosses, like Skeletron or Queen Bee or Dad Cthulhu, are like perfect examples of how to make a boss for a platforming game. So often I see platformers that lean more into the bullet hell aspect. I mean, now of course you're shooting projectiles, but they're still super easy to avoid. I really don't like bullet hell platformers, but that's something I'll get into later. So for now, the attacks are so simple. Oh dear, that's close. Actually, it'd be worth it to get that debuff on him. Damage over time. Taking a lot of damage though. Oh, that shot just curved around in time. I'd like to pick up that star. Oh, meteorite. Just seeing that in the background casually. Don't mind it at all. But like this boss right now is pretty much just like running around in circles and jumping over them. Still can be a little bit dangerous, even though there's not too many projectiles. I missed all of those. The extra enemy spawning are actually kind of helpful for refilling mana. There's a mana star down there I didn't notice. My damage output is not great though. It's still taking a while. I don't know if it's worth it to use the wand. I don't want to get too far away because the projectiles actually speed up. Okay, small mistake there, but it didn't hurt me too much. That did though. I short him at the wrong time. This mana star. It's worth it to do the frost burn. That's if one projectile does like 70 damage. Okay, maybe less than that. I don't know how long the effect lasts. Also, I was using the wrong weapon. Yep. I think that maybe my mobility has greatly outscaled my damage. Like this is, I'm still using a weapon that you can get at the very beginning of the game, but my mobility is so good that I can fight this boss without any problems at all. That's why it's taking so long. There we go. Your life regen is actually higher when you're sitting down. We didn't get it. Diamond Hook is still better than that. Kind of unfortunate that one of these weapons is just like, if you get lucky on this boss fight, 'cause you can't really easily refight them. You know, actually, yeah, I can't use any more, but if I go over here. Yeah, so this could also, because this is mana regen, took damage from this guy. That is very hard to see. Maybe one of those turned into something. Okay. How do I pick this up? If you touch the shimmer, it's not great. Something kind of bad happens. It's actually a decent item, but I don't have any extra accessory slots available. Probably start farming some of these extra herbs. So those potions are useful to have. I just like having these potions, honestly. And I can make these, which I probably should have made a bunch of already. But I need to go grab more glowing mushrooms. I guess I can. Just real quick, go grab some. I considered placing the underground town in the mushroom biome. I think I still could actually, because it counts as a separate biome. So there's the underground pylon and then the mushroom pylon. You can also put that on the surface. And you can create an artificial mushroom biome, which means that you can essentially place a pylon wherever you want in the world. So I don't know if I want to spend that on this area down here underground. It's just the boulders sitting up there that destroyed the pressure plate. It's right here. I just want to collect a bunch of these mushrooms. That's a very slow. I'll use this axe to collect them. Just kidding, I can't. It counts as like a different item. This house is also actually made out of mushrooms too. I don't want to break down this whole house just for a handful. Let's get an extra 150. That's probably good. I very, very rarely do this. I'm actually like upgrading potions. Last here. Nothing. Alright, let's head to the dungeon. So normally the dungeon is blocked off. Well, it's not blocked off at all. But something bad will happen if you enter it before defeating Skeletron. But now that I've done that, you can enter just fine. I'm also looking for a book. And these water candles, they increase spawn rates, which makes the dungeon more dangerous, but also you can just take them. And they're useful if you're grinding something, if you're grinding monsters later. But these cracked bricks, I really don't like them. They're kind of annoying to clear up. And they kind of block your... Like block your path, you have to look around and like mine them all out. There's something up here. I guess it just connects up here, so that's kind of pointless. It keeps going. Over here. So the dungeon is... I really like the dungeon, actually. You have to basically get a bunch of keys to open up locked chests. Double mechanic. I really need a damage upgrade. Yeah, these golden chests, they're locked, but you need keys. You can get keys for killing enemies, from breaking pots, from other chests that aren't locked. It means that you actually have to spend a decent amount of time in this area to find all the items that you want. It's also like very worth it. Like, dungeon has a bunch of the best pre-hard mode items. There's 2 magic weapons that I really want to get here. One of them is actually very good. I don't know if I should focus on killing anything now. I don't deal enough damage. Maybe I'll just explore around for chests that I can open. Traveling merchant. I'll have to get that in a bit. The Valthorn is better at stun locking the enemies and keeping them in place, but the Ruby Staff is better for damage. It's nice when that happens automatically. You don't have to break it all on your own. There's also these like special chests. This one right here is a jungle chest. It's kind of an annoying thing later in the game. Basically, there's these keys that randomly drop from enemies in a biome. So in this case, they would drop from the jungle biome, of course. And it's a very low drop chance. It's like 1 in 1,000 or 2,000 or something lower than that, maybe. So basically, just have to grind out enemies a bunch if you want to get it. Or you just get lucky. Just get it immediately. Which pretty much always happens if you actually end up getting the item. You're never like, oh, I want to get this item, and you spend a bunch of time grinding for it. Except for maybe a handful of particularly strong items. Okay, you know what? I have a different plan. I think I'm just going to ignore all the enemies for now. Actually, I realize I need one of these bookcases. Stop. We're going to look for one weapon. There we go. Here we go. Here's the water bolt. This is a very fun weapon. Oh, golden key. And here's the other weapon. Well, there we go. So here's the magic missile. Shoots at this thing that you can control, but also you can release it, and it's a homing projectile that blows up. So it has an area of effect. It just goes the same path that I already came from. There is one more item, or maybe two. Yeah, 2 more items I want to get from the dungeon. So we'll still be here for a while. But now I can actually fight stuff. Water bolt is great at clearing out lots of enemies because it's piercing and it bounces around. I actually kind of want slower projectiles for that. This is better for a single target. It is a bit loud though. I don't like these spikes. You know, these spikes used to be a lot harder to mine. Basically, just would never bother with clearing them out, or at least I wouldn't. I don't need to use the Valthorn anymore. It's pretty much been completely outclassed. It does have an area of effect because it went through walls. Alright, this just goes over there. Well, there's another. That's the shadow key. We'll want to keep that for later. I wonder why. see that the projectiles move so slowly that one projectile can hit everything multiple times. Oh, there's a regular chest. Not good though, that's a yo-yo. Use that if I was melee. There is like a specific order that the junk or the dungeon items spawn in. So you can kind of figure out which chest to open if you want a specific item, but I don't really want to bother with that. This guy. I guess I will do that event. But probably later when I'm more prepared. That's just a straight up dead end. He's definitely gonna die down here though. Or not. Maybe it'll be fine. Let's see how much of an upgrade this is. This probably just goes back down, yeah. I like counter. Wow, cursed. Can't use items for a bit. Now you can like move these magic missile. You can move the projectile around with your mouse. But that's not really that useful an ability unless you want to like do that, for example. Dungeon slime. This is actually the main way you're supposed to get keys. These dungeon slimes have a guaranteed chance to drop one. And they'll show up on the like rare creature displays, so you should keep track of that. That's a gun. And I just want to check if I do have a key. Like maybe I'll just chest will just open. Like, oh, I had a key and I didn't even realize. Oh, I forgot about the trusting merchant. That's unfortunate. This guy's back. He will haunt you for the rest of your playthrough. Always showing up when you don't have a key. So maybe I'll just open it right now. I'd really like to get some other items first. I didn't even get a key. I do have a key though. There we go. Wizard with a firearm. There's a game about that, right? I don't know if that's been released yet. Like Wizard with a gun. That's literally just what the game's called. Maybe I'll play that actually. Kind of looks interesting. Yep, and they're immediately dead. They'll come back though. I think I can explore over there. I just never really need to use the Valthorn again. It's already been... It was already not a great weapon when I got it. But it was still kind of useful here and there. Hello. Welcome to the stream. This weapon is very loud. Also, let me know if the sound is working fine. Because I had a lot of problems with that last time I played Terraria. Yeah, I'm supposed to go down here. There's this kind of like subclass of Terraria, like magic weapons. Don't hear the sound effects at all. That's why. I like set that up before stream and I didn't even turn it on. Now you should be able to hear sound effects. There we go. That's the last item we want. And it's nighttime, so I can actually test out these weapons against some bosses. That isn't the I have to do. I don't really want to keep that on me. Just do a little bit of organization real quick. Random blocks and stuff here. This is actually too tall. Well, I'll just put it up there then. Also, I could look at Sky Islands. Or look for Sky Islands again with that. These gravitation potions. I immediately put them away. I'm thinking. Deadly. That's really good already. I actually shoot projectiles over here and they'll bounce off that tree and come back eventually. Bit of extra damage in there. There we go. We'll do that a few more times maybe, just to get some extra like money mostly. Did I finish talking about that? I was saying that like there's a subclass of magic weapons, but they're more like support oriented. Instead of a weapon that you actively use to deal damage to like the main enemy that you're targeting, it's just something that you kind of put there, and it just like sticks around and deals some extra damage on the side. And this water bolt isn't exactly that, because you can still just use it as a main weapon. Projectiles move so slowly that you can kind of just like shoot projectiles out here and there. And they will deal extra damage. So I can actually just go and sell all this. It's a pretty good amount of money. I probably do prefer Cobalt Shield over Worm Scarf, even though it's less defensive. It's not as defensive, but it's the knockback immunity is definitely worth it for me. Also, I really don't want to hold on to these banners. Okay, I guess we will head to the jungle actually. Why am I so slow? It's just because I'm slow. Yeah. So I'm looking for bees. Actually, we found bees. Yeah, there's bees over there. So we don't have to look around. It would be nice to find a few more life crystals eventually. Actually, I'll find them soon enough when I head down to Underworld. Usually we make a elevator. It's basically just a tunnel that we dig all the way down from the surface down to the bottom of the world just to get there quickly. And I'll probably find some life crystals doing that, digging that out. But I don't want to do that until I have some really good mining speed. But I could also do it over here, because I can just pile on down here and dig the rest of the way. Although it's kind of weird to be on this far on the side of the world. It's just how powerful this weapon is, and it is also the weakest version of this type of weapon. There's more upgrades to get. This is a pretty small arena. I might dig out a path going this way. As in I will. So I'm doing it already. This is actually a good spot. It's not great, but... Excuse me. I guess I could just open or dig this out. And campfire. These weapons are probably good enough for it to not be too difficult. Although these hornets keep spawning. I don't need to actually really expand this much further. Probably good enough. Need to make sure that I can... Actually, I have a good way to do this. I can do... Yeah, thank you. Alright, green beet. Just because we're in such an enclosed space, these will bounce around a whole lot. And deal some extra damage. The magic missile is probably better damage. If I can use it. For these other random enemies. Beehive is rolling. I also use the Shield of Cthulhu to stash the iframes. Not able to dash fast enough. There we go. We got the bee gun. This is the weapon I wanted, but it might be kind of weak. Any weapon that does a really low amount of damage like this is heavily affected by defense. Because defense just decreases damage by a flat amount. So if it's something has 10 defense, then like this weapon is suddenly completely ineffective. Whereas this weapon will still deal like 33 damage. Like, that's pretty good. Still, but I might want to reforge that to be better. Also, I think I will need another chest for items. I don't really want to use like random chests. Just to keep it consistent with this kind. This should go in a different chest. There we go. And I think that's for summoners mostly, so I don't really need to worry about that. I thought that maybe the bee gun would be better, but it just doesn't seem to be doing enough damage. Unless... You know, I don't know if you can see the meteorite on the map. I guess I will just look for it then. And it also might be over here. On the other side of the world where I haven't explored yet. Pick a box. Second box. Sorry, I'm focusing on the game right now and I don't really want to try that. And maybe it doesn't seem like running in one direction requires that much focus. And you'd be right. There's also a chance that the meteorite landed on a sky island. Or down like some hole that I can't see, like, or maybe at the top of a tree. But I don't think that Oh. Oh, this isn't anything. At least it's going to be a bit faster. Oh, okay, here we go. So yeah, I couldn't see that on the map. Now, meteorite hurts you when you touch it, so I need to be careful about this. You can't use bombs. I don't think you can. Yeah, so I have to mine carefully like this. Gotta stand on these handful of blocks that are safe. Now, there is a pretty good weapon you can make with meteorite, but it might be outclassed by the magic missile at this point. Because you can also, or you can access a meteorite a little bit earlier than when I did. So I think a meteorite can fall after you fight the Eater of Worlds. And, burning a little bit. And I just went straight from the Eater of Worlds to Skeletron, so normally it would maybe take you a little bit longer to get through that. And in that time, you could get these meteorite items. Now, I don't know how much I'm going to have to mine. You know, the Violet Thorn would actually be nice to have right now. So it can attack through walls, but these items can't. There is an item that you can get in the desert that speeds up mining a whole lot. I really haven't been to the desert that much, so maybe it would be worth it to look for that. Maybe especially before mining the elevator. But you know, if it takes too long to find it, then it would have been worth it to just start mining instead of looking for it. But also, I'll be mining a lot in the future too, so it should be worth it for all the way over then. And this is probably enough, honestly. Yeah. And at least I know where it is now. Pretty much exactly enough. I have the chat open? Yes, I do. I'm sorry, but I'm not interested in solving a riddle right now. So this armor set is... it gives extra max mana and reduced mana cost, whereas this armor set pretty much just gives extra magic damage. That's it. So I have much lower max mana now, which actually might be a big deal. So this brings me all the way up to 280. But my weapons, with this set, 43 damage, and then with this set, 51. That is a pretty good increase. And the other set bonus is the waste of time. Well, if you enjoy the stream, you still stick around. I'm not gonna use the space gun, I don't think, because I like this weapon a lot more. I guess we can head into the jungle. I can grab a Spelunker potion if I had one. Yeah, not that hard to make. And mining potion too. Yes. Just in case. I will have to walk there though. So I already used the desert pylon over here. I'm just worried that this area will be corrupted in the future. Witch Doctor. I don't think I need anything for Witch Doctor though. So I'm pretty much just looking for a single item down here. It's also kind of strange that the entrance to this underground desert is through a pyramid. Usually there's some other way that's like more obvious to enter, or maybe it is the pyramid. And it's just like, because most of the time pyramids are underground and you can't even see them. Just happened that this one was just visible. Maybe it was visible because there is no other way to get into the desert. Okay, I will drink this mining potion. And these other potions. Just all of them. Oh, golfer. Don't need them at all. I don't think I'll be playing golf, but maybe it is nice just to have more NPCs. Just with this music. And they're gonna die. I get though. Oh. Yeah, they're dead now. I kind of wish the underground desert was a bit more connected, because it's mostly made up of these like little pockets. Some areas are more connected than others, but a lot of the time you're just gonna have to be mining these tunnels. The Spelunker potion does help, in case maybe I do see something. I know where to mine at least. Nothing here yet. A life crystal. I do still need those. I actually need 3 more. A sand trap. I'm not very good at seeing those yet. I also want to get these bombs. They could be useful for mining the elevator. I might not even need to focus on mining speed if I just get enough bombs. Although scarab bombs dig like a 3 wide tunnel, and normally I dig a 2 wide tunnel. So if I get like halfway there with 3 wide tunnel, then I'm just gonna feel compelled to dig the rest of it 3 wide, even though it's unnecessary. So there's a chest up there. Well, that's actually a nice item to have anywhere. And a minecart. I thought I saw something down here, but I guess not. Okay. I didn't even realize my health was that low. Or that the cactus would do that much damage. And now I need to get a Spelunker potion again. Well, I guess I already have one, but... How much of that stuff do I have? Alright, you can't just mine it directly. You need an extractionator too. And the bombs... 25. Just not enough, definitely. But would probably... Well, actually from here, maybe. I'm considering starting the elevator from over here. Dude, oh right, I have a house down here. Like, what is the witch doctor doing over here? The outer thirds of the world, so like this area and this area, have slightly different properties from the middle of the world. And specifically in the underworld, there's something that I would rather want to be here for, you know? So if I dig the elevator over here, then I'd have to walk all the way over here again. So I should probably just dig it from here, from the beginning. Yeah. Well, at least I can, do is get a better reforge on the pickaxe. That's not what you're looking for on a pickaxe reforge, but I suppose it's also fine. Legendary does give extra mining speed. I will make some mining potions, but I don't think I'll need the spelunking. Maybe right here. I'll just dig it. We're gonna be here for a while. Just digging. It's kind of interesting how things like this elevator kind of come up, because there's nothing in the game that tells you to make this, but it's a thing that is very common that players often do. You just need to find a way to get down, and so this is the obvious solution. Just dig a hole through the whole world. But nothing in the game tells you to do this. It's just kind of emergent. It's kind of interesting, and there's a lot of things in the game like that, where there's some sort of problem, and community solves it in one way most often. Do I have... I do. A mango. Just a mango? Okay. I'm still not immune to fall damage. I think that buff increases mining speed, maybe. Elevator, however, takes a while. Yep. I mean, I guess it didn't look that hard. It would have been nice to find that item in the desert. It increases mining speed by 25%. Actually, yeah, 10% increased mining speed. I will take that. Anything that I can get, really. That actually makes a big difference. There used to be this sort of exploit, not really an exploit. I guess it was intended, but it was definitely taken advantage of, where you could fish for a specific item in the jungle, or no, in the ocean, and that item is a pickaxe. It's actually a shark and a pickaxe at the same time. But this pickaxe was as good as the pickaxe that I'm using right now, as I think it was at the same level. And this pickaxe that I'm using right now, it would require you to defeat the Eater of Worlds, right? So you have to like go to the corruption, make sure that you're prepared for this boss and fight them and defeat them, get this pickaxe, or you could just go fish. And so the obvious solution is just to go fish every time. And now you have like the best pickaxe in pretty hard mode. And that was progression for a long time. Same with Meteorite, where you could just break a shadow orb. That was the trigger, or that used to be the trigger. Break a meteorite. Should break these. Break the shadow orb, spawn the meteorite, and then mine that with bombs. You could do that. And now you have like the meteor armor, which like maybe if you're not mage, it's not the best armor set to use, because it's mostly about magic damage, but it's still a good like. Oh, with this set, 16 of defense, just like off the bat. And if you want to make the space gun, you have a really good weapon to go alongside it. And so being able to get that pickaxe from the ocean and then the meteorite set would basically like skip most of pre-hard mode, because you would have like really good equipment immediately. Maybe it would have been a good idea to bring a gills potion so I could breathe underwater. And those have mostly been patched away. It seems like to get a meteorite to fall, you need to defeat the Eater Worlds, and you can't even mine it with bombs, so you need to get at least a gold pickaxe. But I guess if you have to defeat the Eater Worlds for it to spawn anyway, then you might as well just use the Nightmare pickaxe, the one that I'm using right now. And the other pickaxe from the ocean is still in the game, but it's just not nearly as strong. I don't even know if it can mine meteorite. I actually just realized I could totally replace the double jump, because I already have the lightning boots, which give me the rocket boost. So I have like 2 double jumps essentially. So I could replace one of those. Well, not the boots, because those will give me good movement speed. Oh, what do you look at that? Not the last one I need, but pretty much that's max life for now, 400. But I think that was I don't know if I like preferred it to be like that or the way it is now. It definitely was kind of cheesy to be able to skip so much progression with just a handful of like, pretty easy steps. And of course there was a bit of danger to it, you know. Getting to the ocean takes quite a bit of time. So you have to walk across like all the other surface biomes, potentially like the jungle or the corruption. But you know, those aren't the worst areas. You can definitely still handle it. And then of course going directly into the corruption to break the shadow orb. You know, not possible. but a little bit risky. But then that would pretty much skip you like straight to the end of pre-hard mode. And you know, you can't do that anymore. But progression, I mean, progression is still pretty simple, right? The Eater Worlds is like the main thing that you need to do to get the Nightmare Pickaxe, where you can then go down and mine Hellstone. That's pretty much what I'm going for right now. Well, not Hellstone, actually. I don't even know if I need to use that, other than for the upgraded pickaxe. But I will need to go down there. And if I was going melee, or it doesn't really matter the class because the armor set's pretty good, but I could just get the Nightmare Pickaxe, go down here, and then mine the Hellstone to make the full set of armor, and you're pretty much set, you know? That's like the best, or like highest defense armor set in pre-hard mode, I think it is. Of course, you have to get all the way down here, which, I mean, if I followed this natural cave, I would have gotten here a lot faster, but I still would have to dig down the rest of the way. But it's kind of like, it's kind of nice that the game is like that sometimes. Where if you know what you're doing, you can kind of skip a lot of progression, because of course, if you play this game a lot, you don't care too much about like doing everything. If you just want to get to the end of the game, then you know what to do to get there. Also, I'd rather keep this water. But also, I kind of want to know what's over here. I still don't have a magic mirror. There we go. That's the last life crystal we'll need. Okay, nothing. You end up finding a lot more minecart tracks to slow down. Bunch of emeralds. I want to talk about something for a bit, and it's the way that these like biomes in the game work. Okay, now we can see lava gone this far down. It's not all the biomes are useful for every class. Well, most of them are useful in some way, but not like the main focus. Like, say I'm playing mage, which I am. If I'm playing mage, what are some of the things that I'm going to want to get? Well, the dungeon was a huge one, right? I got 2 pretty strong weapons from the dungeon. So that's a good place to start, except the dungeon is quite far into progression, at least early on. So you need to do something to prepare for the dungeon, which maybe that means getting jungle armor. So maybe early game mage progression is go to the jungle to get, or just underground in general, because I use the gem staff against Skeletron. So just get a weapon. And then, or maybe Eater Worlds first, so that you can get the meteorite to spawn, and then you can use the space gun. That's pretty effective. Right, and then you fight Skeletron and then do the dungeon to get them all these magic weapons. If you're playing Ranger, you actually do the same thing because you want to get the Necro set from the dungeon. So this time, instead of going for the weapons, although there are also weapons, it's mostly the armor set that you're focusing on. If you're melee, you pretty much only care about the Muramasa because of the upgrade to that. Temporarily switch to mage. And the thing is that you wouldn't even like switch to it. That was like your first set. If you go to the corruption immediately, break a shadow orb, you can like, the moment you have bombs, you can get full meteorite armor. And it's good enough to carry you through like the entirety of pre-hard mode. And like, unless you specifically want to play another class, like, that was a good option. And even if you weren't going mage, it was still nice to have the meteorite armor just for the defense alone. Because like, what other option do you have early on? Like, you could mine for ores to get like gold or platinum armor, but that kind of takes forever. Or you could like, go to the jungle for the jungle armor. That also takes a while, and the dungeon is actually quite or the jungle is a bit more dangerous. I'm now out of water. You do kind of want to have a bunch of water when digging an elevator because it gets rid of all the lava in your way. Maybe if I get lucky, I won't need any. But like, pretty much every biome has something that you want to get. I work with coastal to the bottom. But the reason is different for every class. It's really good for replayability. And this is something that's like, I think is like one of Terraria's strongest points. Just having different classes, melee, ranger, mage, and summoner, kind of means that you can play the game 4 different times and have a completely new experience. Well, it's not completely new. Like you're using new weapons and looking for new armor, and every time you go to a biome, you're looking for something different. Like you go to this biome to get a weapon as one class, but then you might go there for an armor set as another class. Okay, I think I do need to get some water. So your progression kind of like varies a whole lot. You never upgrade things in the same order. Although the things that do stay consistent, you know, you always fight the same bosses. And there are like a handful of bosses that are completely mandatory. Want to beat the game. Skeletron is kind of the only one in pre-hard mode, which doesn't really count because they're actually more important later in the game to have defeated Skeletron. Okay, that was not much water at all. I guess I'll just go over here. Maybe I'll get more water in the future. Or I could just try to drain the lava from below. We'll finish that later. It's been a while. They're just digging. Okay, just kidding. Bunch of lava. You thought you were gonna get somewhere. Lava ocean. Welcome to hell. I do have the shadow key, which is the main thing that I'm looking for. Shadow chests. Like this, except I have to be careful of these hellstone bricks. They do burn me. Considering that meteorite also burns you, you would think that this meteorite armor would give me protection from that. That's not the item that I need though. These houses have a lot of pots. Actually have really valuable items, because I think the value depends on their depth. We're at the bottom of the world, so they're very valuable. That's the item I'm looking for, by the way. The Flame Lash, that's what it's called. But it has a pretty bad reforge, so I'm not actually going to use it. That was very close. Actually, I think that's the last item. I don't know if I want anything else from these chests. There's a small chance of getting a demon scythe. Magic weapon drops from these guys. Upgrade the furnace. I did not really get that much obsidian though, so I need to go back down for that. This life crystal. There we go. To the vital crystal, which is life regeneration. There's actually another item I want to get real quick, but I forgot how to make it. Bones, spores, and scales. Is that exactly enough? Demon altar? I think it requires a demon altar. There's one over here, right? Yep. Maybe there's a demon altar along the elevator that would be easier to get to. So let's look out for that. Void bag. AKA the best item added to the game recently. I think this works. I guess I'll test it out. Yep. So these can just be in here, and they will act as if they're in my inventory. Maybe that works with health potions too, but I'd probably hold on to those anyway. So this is basically just an extension of my inventory. Very convenient to have with our limited inventory space. This, I was going to reforge this. It is not as strong as it could be. Yep, that's a good reforge. And this can be upgraded just to this sky fracture, which is a good weapon later on. I will probably make that. This is a good weapon. I will hold on to that. It just does really good single target damage. Probably reforge it too. I opened the wrong chest, that's why I was confused. So throw these potions in here. These magic potions are actually pretty good. I'll save those for like boss fights and stuff. Obsidian. One thing I wanted to get. Now I can use this slime out to fall faster. It's actually like the slime out, or the slimy saddle, I suppose, is dropped from the king slime, which is like the first boss in the game technically. They're at least the easiest boss. And this mount ends up being like my favorite to use throughout the entire game. Because being able to suddenly fall very quickly whenever you want, it's like a very useful ability. Oh, just a little bit of water fell down that got rid of all these torches. That's fun. So everyone knows you create obsidian by combining water and lava. Take some of this water over here. This will probably be as much as I need because I'm not making too much with healthstone. Because you need obsidian to smelt healthstone into bars. And there's also one other item I want to make with it. Yeah, make sure to jump into the lava real quick. Good measure. Obsidian Skull plus shield equals Obsidian Shield. Arcane Tooth for extra mana. What did I want to do? If I had a good accessory, maybe this one or the Flying Carpet might be better mobility. Or Hive Pack if I was using the bee gun. Maybe I'll try this out. Maybe not. I think I'll try the Worm Scarf. So now it's just the rocket jump plus like better defense. Hello. Welcome to the stream. I think I also want to reforge. Super late? Nah, it's fine. Still be going for quite a while. Is it expensive? Masterful, that's good. Demonic, that's also good. And maybe some of these. Like that's a good one. Nope, I'm not using melee. Armored, good enough. That was an unnecessary potion. Okay. Not sure if there's anything else that I want to get done in pre-hard mode. I could fight the last boss. There's one more thing I could do. Shit, might as well. That'll take a while. I want to flatten out this area. I always like having a like big flat open area for like events and like bosses. Randomly found Shimmer. I did not. I actually used a little trick to find its exact location. Depending on the name of the guide when creating the world, you can determine the X coordinate of Shimmer. What level is this at? It's actually really good. Just wanted to have access to Shimmer early, and I'd rather not spend forever looking around for it, especially with not great mining speed right now. So the Flame Lash actually doesn't even do that much more damage than the Magic Missile. It might even do less damage. But it's better because it has piercing. So it can attack an enemy. Or it can hit like multiple enemies. Ends up being really nice against the next boss. And just any scenario against multiple enemies. Only a slight upgrade, but you already got the Magic Missile quite late. It's from the dungeon. There we go. So this whole area flattened out now. I can go to this guy. Trying to think of which one of these I want. What about this one? So this event is another one of those collab things. It's from another game that I'm not really familiar with at all. Okay, that spawned actually kind of close to the NPCs. Maybe they'll help out a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of extra damage. This event. Oh, I didn't flatten out this, so it's going to be slightly offset. That's fine. This event. It's kind of known in Terraria to be very slow and boring. Also, this is used a lot of mana. Even with the minus mana cost. Luckily, they added this thing where you can skip a wave. Or skip to, like, the countdown to the next wave. You can't just skip a wave. I should use this weapon instead. I can just kind of shoot back and forth like this. Yeah, seems to be effective. Maybe I shouldn't have skipped that one. I won't skip the next one. Because, I mean, I can see why. I can't see why. I know why. I'm not the biggest fan of this event either. The weapons that you get, or the items in general that you get from it, aren't the greatest. Except for, like, very late in the game. Because this event does get upgraded over time. But this event is good for summoners, specifically sentry users. So that's actually the item that I just got, the explosive trap rod. Basically a thing you place down, it just does damage. Not evenly spaced out, that's unfortunate. I think part of the problem is that even if you are summoner, then sentries are like a different thing than summons. So you either go like into sentries or into summons. If they were both the same thing, then maybe you would care about it. But like there's these armor sets that are actually pretty good if you use sentries. Now the question is, do you want to use sentries? Like, I don't know. And if you use the armor set, you'd be sacrificing your ability to like fully make use of summons by focusing on sentries instead. If you could do both, then I feel like it'd be more appealing. But the armor sets, I really like the armor sets conceptually. Because they're kind of like hybrid between like some class and summoner. So like partially melee, partially summoner, then partially ranged and summoner. And that'd be cool. I love the idea of like mixing two classes together. The problem is it's sentry. That's the problem. You're mixing like melee with sentries, and I don't want to use sentries. I want to use summons. So if it was just summon damage instead of sentry damage, I'd probably want to use it a lot more and actually do this event. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So there we go. That was pretty easy. I am maybe over prepared for this because of the flame lash. But I mean, I'm sure the water bolt would be enough. Those mana stars. So there we go. That actually didn't take that long. And there's also these items. Like max sentries and max summon damage. And now I can like use this whenever, but like, I don't know. Do I want to? Not really. I'm pretty sure that's like everything to do in free hard mode. Pretty much. I guess I'll check real quick. Deer clops. Do I care about deer clops? Not really. I don't even know how to summon them. It's like, doesn't have to be like like if it's raining in the snow biome at like midnight. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, I guess it's just the wall of flesh next. There are a few things that I like to do to prepare for the wall of flesh. Blizzard. Goodness, these things are kind of expensive. I do have a builder potion. I also have this. So these platforms, I'll explain that later. But I prefer these platforms, or these planter boxes over platforms. So that's where the elevator ends. This could just dig down here. And I'll clear out that lava later. Still does take a while. So there's a little trick that I like to use down here when deciding where to build a platform. I have restoration potions. I don't think I want those. I need to look for something and find like a specific landmark. On the ceiling. Alright, I don't need to worry about those anymore because I have the obsidian shield. This might be it. Yeah, okay. So notice how there's this kind of line. If I look on the map right here, no blocks go below this line on the ceiling. The arrows. I might want that. This is the best thing I have. Because I want to look for this line. And that's 3 blocks below this is where I build the platform. I guess I'll also use a builder potion. So this boss that I'll be fighting kind of travels across the whole underworld. And so I like to build a platform to walk across. Because the terrain is very uneven and there's also these buildings that get in the way. So it's really nice to have a platform. You can just use a water walking potion, which also works on lava. It's also a lava walking potion. And just like walk across the big pools of lava that are everywhere. But you would still need to clear out a path through the buildings that get in the way. I'm sure that everyone who plays Terraria has a different approach to this part of the game. This is just what I like to do. These platforms are also nice to use because no matter where your cursor is, they place in the right spot. Whereas for platforms, you know, they do this. So it means your cursor doesn't need to be in exactly the right spot to place these in a straight line. And this platform is not just useful for the next boss fight, it's also very nice for just navigating this part of the game. Which I like to return here quite often, actually. One slight problem is that you end up breaking a bunch of random items in these houses. So your inventory kind of gets cluttered. Another reason for using these platforms is they are immune to lava. So that slime I just killed, it drops some lava on the floor. If you use normal platforms, it would break the platforms and leave a bunch of little holes in your bridge. If you use solid blocks, then you wouldn't be able to go through you wouldn't be able to like fall through if you want to. And also the lava would just pool up. So you can see, I think this would have gone down further, but there's kind of like a barrier where blocks can't generate below. So you never bump up against the ceiling. As for how long this bridge should be, I don't know. I never know what's a good length. Seems to be long enough so that you're confident that you can beat the boss before you run out of bridge. But also, it's not really the most fun to like keep building this forever. So you could just build it across the entire underworld, of course. Half the map. In early versions, like before even expert mode. That's pointless. Expert mode. That was added in 1.3, right? I assume that if you say early versions, it's before then. And in expert mode, the wall of flesh is a lot faster. Yeah, maybe this would be a good spot to start the fight. I'll keep the bridge going on in the other direction. But also, I need to mine some hellstone. Just a bit, enough for the pickaxe, because I'm really not making anything else. Hellstone creates lava when you break it. Or I guess maybe the lava was always there and just releasing it. So you usually need to do something to mine it safely. So I usually do it like this, where I mine it through the walls of these buildings. one piece I missed. What if you block swap? You can. Something I haven't tried before. Although the Hellstone pickaxe actually is quite expensive to craft. I think that this is close to it now. However, I would like to fight the boss right now, but I need the summoning item. Stone here. Yeah, 20 bars actually. That's even more than I thought, but it's still enough. I don't need this pickaxe anymore. So I think I want to make a potion. Here we go. Battle potion. And water candle. Both of these items increase spawn rates. And the summoning item that we need drops from an enemy. So increasing spawn rates will make that faster. Need to make sure that I don't fall into the lava here. You know, this doesn't really feel like long enough. I kind of want to try it anyway. This will just be sitting around here. But after this boss fight, this will be the end of free hard mode. And it's a really interesting way to make the game last longer, to add content to a game about exploration. Because for the majority of at the start of the game, you're exploring the world. There's like so much of the map that you need to find it. Exploring the entire surface, exploring the caves. I mean, I actually really haven't explored the caves that much. Maybe it looks kind of distorted because I'm in a large world, so it looks like I haven't done much, even though I have. But now that you've like explored the whole world right now, like there's a reason to go to pretty much every biome. There's lava in here. Okay, what's the underground desert, jungle, corruption, dungeon. I guess I didn't go to the underground snow. But that's just because it's so far away from the spawn. If it was a bit closer, then maybe that's a good place to go to mine, and like at the very start of the game. Snow feels more like an early game area to me. I need to make sure I don't die to these buffs I have. But you pretty much have a good reason to explore every biome in the game. But now that you've done it all, how do you expand upon that? And so this game's solution is to have hard mode, which is this is the game we want. So, you know, I've been saying pre-hard mode. The game is kind of split into hard mode and pre-hard mode, which it's not like the same as difficulty settings, where it's like you pick like either normal mode or hard mode, and then hard mode has like higher health enemies with more aggressive AI or stuff like that. It's not like that. It's just like a second stage of the game where it's much harder, of course, but also where progression continues a lot further. And hard mode doesn't really add anything to the world. It mostly just changes around enemy spawns, but also a few extra things here and there. Like, it does change the world. There's new biomes. The corruption and hollow spread across like most of the underground. At least like in this area roughly. And there's also like a few more areas that I think actually maybe just one more area that you get access to only in hard mode. And this is actually a problem that I have with mods. Oh, Demon Scythe. I guess I did get this, but it's too late for me to use it. Let's just grab whatever buffs that I have. Okay, make a few extra. Snow feels like a biome has weird precision for difficulty. I think it's mostly fine. Snow always feels like the alternative to the regular caves. Like you either come here or to the snow. And it just happened that this was really far away, so I couldn't do that. But I think it's a good option to go early game, and I do that sometimes. But it kind of becomes irrelevant very quickly. But this, like, the way that like VR mode and hard mode works, it's a problem with that I have with mods. That especially if they try to add extra content, because hard mode only goes on for so long. I'd say that past Golem, I don't want to be too like spoilery, but past Golem, I feel like it kind of just becomes like a boss rush where it's like, all right, now you just fight a bunch of bosses and there's not much more exploration left. But if a mod wants to add more content beyond what vanilla does, then you kind of have to keep stretching it further by just like, you can't really make any changes to the world. At least I haven't seen any mods that do any. Snow chest. Right, the key, the biome key. So like mods don't really make big changes to the world after the end of vanilla content, so it kind of just feels like a boss rush at that point. Where it's like, all right, here's like 5 new bosses, fight them all in a row and do something kind of like boring in between each of those stages of progression. And I'll complain about that more when I get some mods. If I do decide to play it, because mostly it's a problem I have with Calamity mod. I don't know if I want to play that. I want to try out some different mods that I haven't played as much. But I feel like progression, at least in pre-hard mode, is like really good for Terraria. Like the dungeon, for example, is an area where you have to go to get stuff, but it doesn't take like a few minutes and it isn't boring and repetitive. It is pretty simple what your goal is. You want to get golden keys to open golden chests. So you're looking for those 2 things, and you need to just explore to find, like you can run around and explore to find the golden chests or regular chests to get golden keys. But also you need to fight enemies who can also drop keys. Right, they also drop bones, which are useful for ranger. Yeah, you can't join. I'm playing single player. Thanks for joining the stream, though. The jungle is similar, where there's an enemy that you need to kill for items, like the hornets and the spiked jungle slimes for stingers, the man-eaters for vines, but also exploration rewards, like the spores, which are kind of scattered all over the place. Spores are actually kind of genius, because you need to collect them to make a bunch of items in the jungle. So you explore around for that, but also they glow, so you can use it to discover caves. It makes exploration easier by showing you areas that you can access. And then the jungle shrines, which also glow. have like the more valuable like jungle items, jungle hearts. Well, I'm talking about pre-hard mode specifically. And I think I guess that's more of a modded problem that I'm actually getting at, where if they don't make any significant changes to the world, the only reason to return to an area is because of a new enemy that gives you like some item. So it's just like grinding that one enemy for that one item. And sometimes hard mode in vanilla Terraria kind of feels like that too, but I guess we'll get to that. But I feel like a lot of people don't like pre-hard mode because it's like grindy, but I actually kind of like love how it's done, with like all the different biomes having different like enemies to kill for items or things that you need to explore to find. And that's especially the case in just regular caves, where you're looking for ores to mine, but you're also looking for enemies to kill that might give items. You're looking for life crystals, you're looking for chests with really good items in them. You're looking for different biomes like marble, granite, glowing mushroom, you know? I don't know why people say the beginning of the game is boring, because the moment you get to like one of these big open caves, especially with these minecart tracks, you can cover a lot of interesting stuff. Anyway, that's enough talking about pre-hard mode. Let's get started with this boss then. And watch me like die to this boss so I could like sit around waiting for another spawner. I'll try my hardest. So this is why I like having the water bolt here, because I can shoot a bunch of projectiles around that will deal extra damage without me having to continue to use that weapon. I can use this for extra damage too. These hungers are gonna keep spawning, getting in the way. I need to get straight to the eyes. The eyes have less defense. I have enough mana potions. So it's actually used mana quite quickly. Maybe I should just do this. Now the mana regen potion I used actually gives crazy high mana regen. So I might, even if I do run out of potions, I can just use that instead. I think I might have not made the bridge long enough. But those guys refill mana quite well. Okay, shield is the problem. It will cause you to bounce off of enemies that you hit with it while doing the shield charge, which some people really like, and I don't like it. Not a fan. Yep, out of bridge. Okay. Pretty low health though. And eventually the wall starts moving faster than the hungries can catch up, so they stop getting in the way. But I really need to stay ahead of the boss so I don't get stuck behind one of these buildings. Yep, here's one. Keep grappling to the ceiling so I don't fall in the lava. Here's another. And another. Goodness. And then eventually these lasers just get too excessive to be able to dodge. Not really a fan of that in this boss. It just becomes laser spam. 300, huh? Or just 200 health. There's one building left. Well, what did I say? Yeah, I think I will expand the bridge. Because it was pretty much just after I ran out of bridge where it became a problem. And also the lasers. I think I could reforge a bit to make the lasers easier to deal with. So they are affected a lot by defense. That helps. Alright, I'm already like way better against those lasers. But those lasers and similar attacks, something that I am not really a fan of in this game. Whenever it happens. It's just like some projectile that is spammed a whole lot that you can barely dodge. And unless you have enough defense, it is very easy to die to them. And I don't think the lasers made a big difference. It's mostly just running out of bridge and running into that building that were the main problem. I'm still not a fan of the lasers. So they end up being a problem. Because like a bunch of those lasers, especially like around the end of the fight, it was just like way too much to be able to... way too much to deal with, and I couldn't like dodge them at all. Cause just like, basically like a constant stream of projectiles. Hopefully I get another voodoo demon before I finish the bridge, or else we're just gonna have to wait around for longer. At least the guide is back. Actually, wait. We don't need to wait. I just remembered the technique where you... the little like trick where you can build a house for the guide and drop it into lava. Although if the guide has arrived, that means it's daytime, so I have to wait until night for that to work, which is another thing that's annoying. Oh. That's something that I really like that mods add. The Calamity adds this item that lets you switch between day and night, which is incredibly convenient. Mostly when you're fighting bosses that you can only fight during the night. Then you don't have to wait around the whole day for them, or if you have to be able to fight them again. Also, I might want to use the water bolt more often, because I noticed that the flame lash wasn't actually great at piercing through the hungries. It can only hit 2 enemies before it blows up. So if 2 hungries are in the way at all, then I can't damage the boss at all. Same kind of item. There's the sundial. I think that's what you might be referring to. But that just skips forward 1 day. That doesn't let you switch to nighttime. Unless there's something else you're talking about. And it has like a week-long cooldown. In-game week. There's also beds, which help a little bit. They speed up the passage of time if you're sleeping in a bed, but not by too much. It's still just like several minutes of just waiting. Two bats menacingly approaching menacingly. A good place to start the fight. It is currently daytime. I have to wait quite a while. I did bring these. So we're waiting around again. It's actually not as bad with the wall of flesh. When it comes to getting the spawning item. It's like a bit random, of course, waiting for a voodoo demon to spawn. But some other boss summoning items are like kind of difficult to craft. Mostly like mech bosses. Oh, here we go. Not that long at all. Terraria is annoying. I think the main problem I have is with the mech bosses, where it's just like takes a long time to grind the materials to craft the summoning item, and then if you die, you have to do the whole thing again. Okay, so hopefully these reforges and the longer bridge make a difference. And I do have a guide. Also invisible. I don't want that. I might use the water bolt more. We'll see. I'll focus on this for a while. And whenever I can, I'll pick up one of these stars. They actually do increase my damage output slightly. I'm out of mana potions. That's fun. Well, then I kind of want to rely on these mana stars even more. They bounce on platforms. I didn't even know that. Yeah, this is a lot more mana efficient. Ow. That wasn't even from the wall. That was just a random enemy. Problem is that this weapon does a lot less damage against the mouse segment. I can't hit the fires. Keep moving away. So try to do that. Yeah, that's like still pretty good damage output if I can actually get there. And now there should be some mana stars on the floor from the last fight. Guide is back. Yeah, you can only use it in open areas though. And I'm gonna start taking more damage from the lasers. We're in this phase now. What are you doing here? Alright, there we go. Ancient spirits of light dark have been released. No, I actually don't think that message makes it 100% clear that you're in hard mode. That's unlucky. I think I've seen some people play Terraria and they kill the wall of flesh and they don't even realize they're in hard mode now. I mean, like, what else is there to do in the game, though, after that point? Actually, there's no such thing as luck. There we go. Sorcerer Emblem. That's just like a free 50% damage. What is the world looking like? Corruption here. That's a great spot for corruption. Means this should be hollowed. Alright, hollowed desert. That's actually a good spot for it, because I wanted to put a pylon there. But also, hollowed is another place where you can create an artificial biome and then put a pylon wherever you want. Just glad that the corruption isn't in a spot that is awful. I think I'm close to ending the stream, but a few other things I want to get done. Mainly even altars. So the first thing you notice in hard mode is that everything takes forever to kill. Oh, it's not often you see it spawn immediately. That's cool. So now this is like the start of the game all over again, where you know, it's like there's a basic set of ores and then you just mine them. Except for the hard mode ores, you have to mine them all in order. Adamant, I actually like seeing adamant. Now there used to be a thing, at least I think it is. I think it used to be a thing that was removed, but I thought that destroying demon altars would spawn a random chunk or a random block of corruption somewhere in the world. So if you broke too many demon altars, your world would slowly become more corrupt. Also, I need to get more mana potions. Actually, I'd like to find the wizard for the better mana potions. But I think that that's not a thing where your world gets corrupted. Because just a few small blocks here and there eventually spread out of control. But now there's like no reason not to break as many as you can. It is nice that I at least had the mana regen potion, or else I definitely wouldn't have. Anyone tell you? And someone's supposed to tell you when I'm streaming? Other than YouTube? Did you not get a notification for the stream? Witch Doctor's down there. You can see that the NPCs can kind of teleport if it's nighttime, but only if it's nighttime for some reason. Can be annoying if you want to move NPCs around. But it's daytime, so you just have to wait. I can also get wings. Now in hard mode. I have not really looked into this corruption that much. Palladium. Oh, no longer have the mana regen. Get the star. Once you start killing more enemies, it speeds up. Now, unlike in pre-hard mode, you can't use bombs to speed up this process. I wish you could make, like... Well, I don't know how it would work. Because the whole point of these, like, pre-hard mode ores is that, you know, you have to, like, get the last ore to mine it. So if you want to mine mithril, you need to get palladium pickaxe. If you want to mine adamantite, you need to get a mithril pickaxe. No mana. Nice if you drop the mana star. Give me a moment to mine this. Now these corruptors, they're called corruptors because they corrupt stuff. They don't actually, but they used to. It must have been like 1.1, where the projectiles that they shoot, they would corrupt the blocks that they touched. And it would suck on the surface if they like shoot a projectile at such an angle that it would hit something way off in the distance and it would spread corruption over there. Vitamins. So these items, fast clock vitamins, you can combine them all together. There's like 8 of them, or more than that probably. And if you get them all together, you can combine them into an accessory that makes you immune to a whole lot of debuffs. Am I gonna go for that? Maybe. If I get lucky, I will. I guess I've already been a little bit lucky getting those first few items. But eventually, when you need like 2 items to make the whole thing, those 2 items are going to take forever to make. Or to get lucky to drop, so they're all enemy drops. Maybe they make a pickaxe just from this ore. Better not die from that. Alright. Well, I think it's gonna be the end of the stream. Goodness, we made it to hard mode. That was kind of my goal from the beginning. That is a really bad reforge. I won't be really using this for long, but whatever. I probably shouldn't have reforged it that much even. Yeah, I just wanted to make it to hard mode, and now we're here. The beginning of hard mode is maybe a little bit grindy. You're pretty much just mining for a bunch of ores, but like once you're able to fight the bosses, if you're able to beat the bosses quickly, then it should like that's the main point of progression, to beat the first mechanical bosses. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to break the altars anyways, so even if it's only like a handful more chunks of ore that you find, like that still makes a difference. Especially when you get to the adamantite or titanium, it just takes forever to mine them, so you do anything you can to speed up that process. If you only want to break a few, then I guess go ahead. So yeah, that's gonna be the end of the stream. Thanks everyone for watching. See ya.